Welcome, people of planet Earth and all planets beyond. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Josh, and if you follow the channel, you're probably familiar with the rag bag videos that we do. We buy these big rag bags full of random t-shirts from local thrift stores, and then we search them for valuable vintage t-shirts. Well, sometimes we find some really crazy bangers. A lot of times we find a bunch of junk, but we do sell them regularly. So what did we actually sell from these rag bags? Here are some of the crazier and weirder ones that we've sold recently. Let's go. So this video is about mostly just the strange oddball t-shirts that we've sold, sort of proving the point that you can sell anything on eBay. So let's go ahead and get started with this really dope tennis tee. This was part of that big tennis tee bag that we found that had just a bunch of random like vintage 90s tennis tees. This Andrew Carson t-shirt right here sold for $35 and like it had a couple stains here and there. That's bizarre to me. That seems so like way out from left field personally, but it sold for $35 plus shipping. So you know, I think that paid for the whole night there just with this one t-shirt. Next up, we have one of those all over print state t-shirts that have like the map of the state all over it. Here we have South Carolina, and this one sold for $22 plus shipping, which, you know, considering I probably paid, you know, a few bucks for essentially from these rag bags, that's not a bad deal at all. Then we have this cat tee. It looks like one of the more modern, cat novelty tees, but it's actually a single stitch, probably from the late 80s, early 90s, and this one sold for $26. Somebody paid me $26 for this t-shirt fresh out of one of those rag bags. That's pretty impressive. Pretty surprising. I didn't think it would go for that much because there's probably modern, versions of this t-shirt out there for less. But super cool, great sale if I do say so myself. All right, so here's a t-shirt that really sort of surprised me. It's this Peter Pan t-shirt that's sort of just like I think it was from a play that somebody put on, and they used sort of a cutout from one of the movies or cartoons or something from like the late 90s or something like that. But still, it sold for $20. I'm pretty shocked by this, to be honest. Didn't really have much high hopes for this particular shirt. It came in one of the rag bags, and since I already own it, I went ahead and listed it, and it sold. So sounds good to me. Probably paid $6 for the bag that it came in, and doubled my money, tripled my money, quadrupled my money almost. So like, I can't complain. Here is a modern liquid blue t-shirt that we got from one of the rag bags, sort of proving the point as well that sometimes just because it's not vintage doesn't mean it won't sell. This one sold for $28. It definitely has a super cool, psychedelic vibe. It is a legit liquid blue, but a very modern liquid blue. Like, I think you can find this t-shirt at Walmart. But somebody bought it. Somebody knew that it was not vintage and still wanted it anyway, and it's still super cool, and it's a great sale for me. So pretty cool that somebody bought this t-shirt. Now here's a t-shirt that was from one of the more recent rag bags. I think it was one of the last rag bags of last year, and it wasn't like a huge, good night for vintage tees. We didn't find a bunch, but we did find this one, and it sold fairly quickly for $25. So very happy. Definitely probably made back a good bit of the money that we spent on the rag bags themselves. At $25 plus shipping is a pretty good sale. Next up, we have this Allen Edmonds striped shirt. Super plain, but it is Allen Edmonds, a more luxury brand. Sold this for $17. Pretty cool striped shirt, in good condition. $17 plus shipping. Definitely worthwhile. Obviously not a huge number, but in the grand scheme of things, when you think about what we're actually having to pull out of these bags, and all the different t-shirts and the money we're spending on them, it definitely works to make up the cost of the bags themselves. Here's one that sort of baffled me, and this is the Scooby-Doo tee that was it's on a giant tag, so it's a pretty cool tag, and it's a pretty cool t-shirt, but it was in pretty rough condition, like some stains, definitely some like fading on the t-shirt. But a collector in England and the UK, I think, bought it for $20 plus the shipping. The shipping was like $30. So they spent $50 total on this t-shirt. Of course, I didn't make all that money, but it surprises me that someone would spend this much money. But it was a collector who collects specific Scooby-Doo t-shirts, and very impressive to me. Very happy to just go ahead and get this t-shirt out of my inventory, having found it in a rag bag and it not being in great condition. Didn't have high expectations for it, but you never know on eBay. Here's a cool one. One t-shirt that I actually pulled out of the rag bags that I kept for myself for a little while. Eventually decided to sell, and it sold for $35. The Omega Man 1984, I couldn't really figure out what it was. It looked like it might have something to do with like a frat or something, some sort of production, but it's still really a pretty cool t-shirt, single stitch from the early 90s. So definitely a pretty cool t-shirt. I just didn't really have a whole lot of expectation because I didn't think anyone would really recognize it or have any knowledge of it, but apparently someone had enough knowledge to spend $35 plus shipping on it. So pretty surprised, pretty impressed. Definitely a cool t-shirt. Here's another one that goes into the surprise category. It's this t-shirt right here, probably from the early 2000s. It's this like father-daughter, like hurt her, you hurt me, or I'm gonna hurt you, or something like that, sort of. I didn't make a lot of money on this. It was $10 plus the shipping, but that's fine because I get so many t-shirts in these rag bags that, selling them for $10 a piece, especially if I'm just trying to work my way up out of it and, keep the higher end t-shirts for bigger sales. This definitely is helpful to just paying off the cost of them and getting us into the green. Pretty surprising. Alright, so here is a really interesting t-shirt right here. This Franz Kafka, the Trial t-shirt. I pulled this out of one of the rag bags, put it to the side, didn't have a lot of knowledge about what it was. Did a little bit of research. Turned out that it's a book and it's a pretty famous author. And there are some other t-shirts of this guy that do go for a bit of money. This was a smaller size, but still sold for $30 plus shipping. I think it did go international, if I remember correctly. But super interesting. I was surprised. Didn't really recognize it immediately as something very valuable. And of course, it's not very valuable, but $30 pays for 5 rag bags typically, so that's a really good sale. Really great to have discovered it and found a home for it. Here's one of those weird t-shirts that's just sort of bizarre and sold for $10. It's this like anti-working together t-shirt, vintage from like the early 90s. Don't know what it's referencing or what it's about, but it sold for $10 plus shipping. That's great. I mean, I don't understand it, but somebody wanted it, and I was able to supply it to them. All right, here we go. This Cat in the Hat tee sold for $35, not $75, plus the shipping. Definitely happy to sell it for $35. I didn't think it probably has maybe a little bit. That's probably a good deal for it, but from the late 90s, super cool tee, especially if you're like into that type of stuff. But definitely helps, pay for all the rag bags and puts us in the green. Here's another one that's sort of interesting because it's like one of those, like big corporate t-shirts that was like, a safety tee. This is from Monsanto. It says, "Don't just do it safe." It's one of those like safety week, corporate promotional t-shirts. I assume it probably sold due to the sort of Nike reference that's in there. I really don't know, but somebody paid me $19 plus shipping, so I'm happy to sell it to them. Yeah, here's a modern t-shirt that I was surprised sold. And really quickly, like the same day that it was listed. It says 2XL Pillsbury Doughboy Poke Me t-shirt. It's probably just a novelty that Pillsbury sold at one of their stores or something in the last 10 years or so, but somebody wanted it and paid $25 for it, so they can have it because I paid very little for it in the grand scheme of things, so very happy to sell it. So pretty cool sale. Here is an older t-shirt that we've had for quite a while. It took a while for it to sell, but it's this like all over glow-in-the-dark eyes t-shirt. Sold it for $35. I believe we sold it around Halloween. I could be wrong. I can't remember exactly, but pretty cool t-shirt. I thought it was great. Single stitch. It glows in the dark with all the eyes. That's a super cool t-shirt. So $35, definitely a good sale for us. Now here's another one that really does surprise me. It's this vintage t-shirt, but it's like an airbrushed alien. So maybe from the 80s, maybe earlier than that. I don't know. Airbrushing was pretty popular in the late 70s too. I really don't know. It was single stitch, so I'm not entirely sure when it was from. The tag was removed, but somebody paid $40 for this t-shirt. I do believe it went international, so they probably paid even more considering all the taxes and shipping costs. So pretty surprising, but this came out of a rag bag, and I am not complaining. And for the last t-shirt, it's this Ed Hardy t-shirt. Sort of a run-of-the-mill Ed Hardy t-shirt, nothing special about it as far as I know. It even had this little hole in it. Somebody offered me $20 for it plus shipping, so I'm as shocked as you are that it sold. I mean, I know Ed Hardy t-shirts can and have, at least in the past, done okay. It's not nearly as popular as he was a long time ago, and maybe this is a particular art that I'm not aware of, but $20 seems like a really good deal to me, so, or for me, but maybe not for them, I don't know, but came out of a rag bag. You know, this is why we list as many of these t-shirts as we can, because you just never know who will buy them. People out there are looking for specific tees maybe they've had in the past, or maybe it's a joke, or maybe they're doing something else. I don't really know. But you know what? That's not up to me. That's up to them. They can do whatever they want with it. I'm going to supply them with a t-shirt. So in this case, it worked out really well. I got a, $20 for a t-shirt that I probably would have avoided in the thrift store itself and not touched. But it works out for me, works out for everybody. So that is the list for today. These obviously aren't all of the sales that we've had from t-shirts from rag bags or anything like that, but probably the most surprising over the last month or two. So definitely interesting to me, because I don't expect some of these random t-shirts to sell, but there's a buyer for everything out there for the most part, so you just have to get it listed. So be encouraged, just get your stuff listed. You never know what's going to happen. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys later. Peace.